Hi, I'm Richard Byrne. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 neat things that you can do with the ClassPoint add-in for PowerPoint. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this works. So first of all, I have a simple set of slides here, my spring presentation. Let's learn about spring. And I have a couple of slides. What's your favorite thing about spring? And I have a little activity that I'm going to set up in just a moment. Now, the first thing you need to know is that ClassPoint is a PowerPoint add-in. You can install it for free. If you're not familiar with how to install add-ins or specifically the ClassPoint add-in, I have a video linked up in the description down below. Now, the first thing I want to do is collect responses from my students in the form of a word cloud. So here's how this works. I have my slide, what's your favorite thing about spring? I'm going to choose word cloud. And when I do that, ClassPoint automatically adds this word cloud button onto my slide. Now, over here on the right-hand side, I can say that my students can have 5 submissions. They can write 5 submissions or, just 1. I'll leave it at 5 for now. And we can see I can start the activity with the slide automatically, or I can do it manually. I can minimize the activity window after the activity starts. But if I do that, then my students might ask me a few times to reopen the start window. So I'm just going to leave that always shown. And I do like the auto submission closing option. So let's say I'm walking around my classroom while my students are working on their submissions, and I want to just make sure that I don't give them too much time. I want to keep on track. So maybe I'll say after 4 minutes, this is going to automatically close. But for our demo here, I'm going to leave that option turned off as well. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at how the responses are going to come in. So let's go up to my slideshow, and I'm going to present from the current slide my slideshow. And when I do this, we'll see that I now have a class code in the upper right-hand corner. And when I click on Word Cloud, we'll see that we now have this screen with directions for our students. They simply need to go to classpoint.app and use the class code to join. It's important to note, my students do not need to have a ClassPoint account in order to do this. They just need the class code. So now my students can go to classpoint.app on their phones, on their tablets, on their laptops, and enter in that code. And so we'll do that right now. So now we can see here that I have 4 students who are active in the activity, and I have 8 responses. And what's really neat is that as I hover over each word in this word cloud on the slide, I'll see, hey, 3 people wrote sunshine, 1 person wrote ice cream stand opening, 2 people wrote baseball, and 2 people wrote flowers blooming. So sunshine seems to be the class's favorite thing about spring. Now, I'm going to close the submissions. And when I do so, you can see I can give stars to all of my students for participating. Yay! And they all will get little stars displayed on their devices. And I can restart the activity, but for now, I'm just going to insert this word cloud as a slide into my slide deck. So I've inserted the slide there. And now I'll close this out. And let's exit out of our presentation now. And you can see I actually added that twice. So let's delete the extra one. And now let's take a look at another neat thing you can do with ClassPoint. You can see here I've already set up a slide. Drag the red flowers to the right side of the screen. And what I'm going to do now is use ClassPoint's feature for draggable objects. I'm going to turn that on. And I'm going to select the red flower here and turn on drag enabled. And I'll do the same thing over here for this red flower and turn on drag enabled. Now, when I have these slides displayed in my classroom, I can have my students drag the red flowers over to the right-hand side of the screen. So let's go ahead and make this full screen again. Let's go back into our slideshow from our current slide. And now by using the draggable objects tool in our slides, I can have this red flower dragged over to the right-hand side of the screen. Now, this is a perfect activity to do with something like an interactive whiteboard where you might call on students and have them come up and touch the screen and actually drag things across the screen. So that's the draggable objects feature. And the last feature we're going to use is the new built-in web browser that's available with the ClassPoint PowerPoint add-in. So the ClassPoint PowerPoint add-in now has a little web browser that you can launch without having to exit out of your slides. I have that right down at the bottom there. I click on it, and now I have the web browser right here, and I can go and do a search for anything like, when does baseball season start? I need a quick little fact check, and I can do that search right there. And now I have the spring training schedule and all other information I could ever want about the start of the baseball season. And you can see here, I can now insert the results of my web search as a slide in my PowerPoint by using ClassPoint, or I can simply close that out, and whenever I need it again, just open it back up, and I can find that information right there. So those are 3 neat things that you can do with the ClassPoint PowerPoint add-in. And as always, for more things like this, please visit freetech4teachers.com or subscribe to my YouTube channel.